Welcome back to Star Wars News Net's The Resistance Broadcast. My name is John Hoey. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. If you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube, so you're always aware when our new episodes like this one post. We have more solo promo stuff to dig through, as well as Alden Ehrenreich clearing the air about the movie's production drama from last year. So let's get after it by first saying hi to James Bainey and Lacey Gillerin. What's going on?
I'm definitely excited to talk about Star Wars tonight. I'm also excited for Thursday's episode, too, because we got Alex from Star Wars Explained coming on. Woo! I'm excited for that. Yeah, I'm excited to talk.
I have a weird feeling that's going to be a really good episode.
Yeah, he's a good guy, so I think it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go pretty well. What about you, Lacey? How you doing?
I'm doing good. They released some pictures of Alden. He looks really, really hot, so that's good. He's going to really fit the part of Han Solo. Too many shirts, but that's cool. Excited for Thursday. Alex knows a lot. I'm dumb, so I think it's going to be a good episode.
Shirtless Han Solo in this movie?
He's got to get the idea from someone, and it might as well be his dad.
Is that going to be one of our questions on the Han Solo challenge?
Could be.
He might.
Now, Lacey,
they might do it.
Lacey, real quick hot seat here. A New Hope, Harrison Ford, or Solo, Alden Ehrenreich? Go.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah, I already knew she was going to say that.
Yeah?
He's too classic.
He's so hot.
Too classic?
Yeah, I think right now that Alden Ehrenreich's kind of like the new kid in school, and he's kind of cute, but he can't go up against the star quarterback right now.
Okay.
He doesn't have the swagger that Harrison Ford. Harrison's just really hot. There's no other way around it. He's like awesome, and he's smart, and he's funny, and I'm waiting to see if Alden has the comedic timing that Harrison Ford has, because Harrison Ford has that like kind of cocky, confident, but yet kind of charming and funny thing going.
He had it all figured out.
He's perfect. Han Solo is perfect.
I agree with you. We actually agree on that. We would like to take this moment to say a quick thank you to Bill Sheehy, who has actually announced that he is leaving the Resistance broadcast. You will always be a part of the Resistance, and we wish you all the best. And in the words of the late, great Samuel L. Jackson, thank you, Bill. And now we have some poll results that we have to get into here. And we asked you, what do you think the yet-to-be-announced 2020 Star Wars movie will end up being? Only 5% of you said a Solo sequel.
Haha, Lacey's right again.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, if this thing makes $1 billion, they may rethink that. But 10% of you said it's going to be the Benioff and Weiss first film, now that Game of Thrones is wrapping up. 24% of you said the Rian Johnson trilogy film will kick off in 2020, and the whopping winner vote, 61%, said a brand new A Star Wars story. And I have a feeling most of those people want what this guy said. The best comments went to Scott Gibson at Scott Gibby, and he said, Obi-Wan film. He did the clap emojis. I don't know how.
Isn't it just one? Obi-Wan
Oh, it is?
film.
I
Yes.
think it is one clap. Like it's when
John
people
is so
say
hip.
like it's
John
the best.
is
You
so
can't put it the same time as the word, so that's how it's written. But it's when people go like, "Do you or do you not want to do that?" kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So you are doing multiple claps.
Well, no, but for
What?
every syllable.
They're doing it
All right,
with
well,
the word.
Scott, I'll tell you what, Scott. Let us know how many times you clapped when you left that comment, and then we'll go from there.
I have a side question.
That's a good.
So
retweet.
I'm about to lose like a bunch of people that didn't already follow me because nobody follows me. Game of Thrones, when is that over?
Next year.
Yeah.
So it's over in 2019.
Yeah, so they're wrapping up production now, I guess.
Because the guys
this
said
year,
they
and-
wouldn't do anything until after that was done.
Yeah, and it's going to be done soon, so they can start production on their Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if
It
they'll
comes-
do
it
it in
comes
time
out
for
next
2020.
year.
the show will
though.
come out next year, but they might be wrapping like sometime.
Yeah, production is wrapping up. Because I believe Emilia Clarke posted something recently on Instagram or something about some kind of contest about visiting the set. So they're filming now, I believe. So you figure that's going to be done early summer, and then they'll be ready to move on to their super awesome new series of films for Star Wars.
I really hope it's Old Republic.
And because you said that, Pablo Hidalgo has pushed the calendar back another 5 years.
He's like that old wives' tale. The Pablo Hidalgo.
The Pablo under the bridge has 3 questions for you. All right, so I think that does it for polls and stuff. We're getting a little crazy here today. James, we have some news to get into, so what's popping in the Newsnet?
Ron Howard has given us a better look and confirmation of his brother in Solo, A Star Wars Story. Not only that, but he also confirmed on his social media that the movie is wrapped. In the next few weeks, we're going to continue to get more and more content and advertising for it, similar to what we have received in this last little stretch since our last podcast episode. Now, there was a German trailer which featured new scenes of Dryden Vos and some translated dialogue. There was a closer look at Corellia. There were full scenes shown at Cinemacon that has been described to us. Like I said, there's a lot of information to unpack here, so it's a good thing that John and Lacey are here to help. I'm going to start off with you, John. These scenes of Dryden Vos from the German trailer, Star Wars Newsnet translated these to read, "Give me a reason not to kill you," and a second line, "You will have to be careful for the rest of your life." How do you think this character is going to fit in as a villain, especially if it seems like at one point in the movie they're working with or for him?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I believe in that clip he's talking... And unless it's misdirection like we talked about last week, he's talking directly to Beckett there when he's saying, I don't want to have to kill you or whatever he said. Mm-hmm. So it almost feels like that's this movie's Jabba-Han relationship in a way, where maybe he's the big boss and Beckett's like the mid-level boss who has people under him running heists. But I think you talked about this because my brain immediately started going into the whole twists and turns and blah, blah, blah. And James, you had brought up that maybe, that has run its course, and this movie might be a little more direct, and maybe we're just getting a good look at an established villain for this movie, and they just want us to meet him and get to know him. And I think that might be right. And as we found out in Last Shot, his gang, his criminal organization, Crimson Dawn, are they have valuable items, important items, and as we've seen from shots in the movies, I know we'll get into more of this on our Last Shot discussion on Thursday, he has like a taxidermied Ewok and Mandalorian armor, and we don't know what this guy's really all about, but I think we're getting the idea that he is calculated, he's calm, he's direct, but we're not quite sure if he's going to be malicious or violent or not, and I think that's what I want to find out.
Lacey, as far as we've seen, do you think that the Corellia we're seeing in the trailers kind of looks like what's been described to us for years and years? I mean, is this the planet that you're excited to visit?
Yeah, I mean, we knew from books and stuff that Han didn't have the greatest childhood growing up and had it pretty rough. So, I mean, what they've shown us so far looks like a place that I wouldn't want to hang out in. I would not last very long there for many reasons.
Like what?
What? Like what?
Say many reasons.
I mean, yeah, I can't fight. I am bad at gambling. I'm dumb.
Can you build a Star Destroyer?
Maybe.
There you go.
I'm bad with manual labor. Let's just the whole list.
That's not what I do.
Is this a planet I'm excited to visit? I don't know if that's the case. It looked pretty dirty. It's not like a Naboo or an Endor, which is pretty to look at. But I mean, I
also do mean in the sense of we're gonna visit it on May 25th.
Huh? What?
I don't mean as a vacation spot. I mean are you excited to visit this planet?
Of course.
May 25th?
And what I was going to say, James, is that it makes sense in the story of Han Solo that we go to this planet. So yes, I'm excited to learn more about Han and his backstory, of course. But am I excited to go to that planet?
Gotcha.
Maybe not. I mean, I'm excited it's not a desert or a snow planet.
Which we've discussed is the majority of the planets in Star Wars. Well, I got a question for both of you guys. We get these descriptions of a full scene at CinemaCon that feature Han and Lando in an intense card battle. We've all read Last Shot, and in the book, Han's a pilot, Lando is a gambler, and that he's known to cheat, right? So what my question is, does Han actually beat this guy? Does he cheat enough to out-cheat someone who's already cheating? I mean, or does he just straight get lucky?
I think he gets lucky. I think the story of Han Solo is someone that thinks that they're more bamf than they are. But that's part of his charm, is that he thinks he's this guy that just gets his way all the time. And it's does he really? I mean, Force Awakens is like, I always think of that one scene with Chewie where he's just like, I do this every time. And Chewie's like, yeah, okay, whatever you say. I think he's going to just get lucky.
I have to agree with Lacey there. It's like, again, another Force Awakens callback when he's like, I don't think about things until after I've done them. And that's almost like him putting his chips on the table here. He's just doing it, and then he'll think about it, the ramifications of that later. And it just goes to show that Han Solo really never learned his lessons throughout his whole life. He just kept falling back into those traps. And yeah, I mean, the Sabak thing, we know he's going to win. I would like to see, and that clip, it made it sound like he's really putting a whooping on Lando. So, and Lando's supposed to be, he looks like he's pretty chill and calm during that whole scene. So I'm curious to think, he's a
professional gambler.
Yeah,
that's his whole thing. Like he was going to go into professional card playing and stuff like that.
How's this punk, like Lacey's saying, how's this punk beating him so bad? To the point where he is probably so embarrassed, where he's like, all right, you know what? You should quit while you're ahead. And Han's like, no. And Lando's probably like, Jesus, this kid won't go away. Usually people are like, okay, yeah, I'm out of here.
I'm trying to think of an example. I want your ship now. Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example in a movie where you have some type of challenge for the main character and they just happen to be naturally good at whatever the challenge is. I'm trying to think of an example. This is going to be a terrible example, but I'm going to use it anyway. In Pitch Perfect, where they do the a cappella ripoff and everyone's like, no. No, hear me out. And everyone's like, oh, you just sing. And, her character isn't great at it yet, but then she's really good at rapping. So then she's naturally good at this. Anyway. All right. Me.
I mean, that all makes sense. I agree with you.
I have only a few words muted on Twitter, and two of them are Rebel and Wilson.
I was talking about, what's her name? Anna Kendrick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's okay.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things, though. Like, maybe it's the game that, Han grew up playing, and it happens to be the game that they're playing. So he's going and going, I got this. I played this every day, all day.
Just for a second, I like the notion that, like, she's okay in our book because she showed up in a Star Wars commercial. Like, yeah, she's all right. She was in a Star Wars commercial for the first Battlefront.
No, I like her in other
Do you guys get what I'm saying, though? Like, someone that comes in that naturally has that. I'm trying to think of a good example, and that's all I thought
of. That's almost going against what you're saying, where he just fell into luck, which I like that your angle on that better, Lacey.
I do like that angle better, but I'm saying this is another option.
A devil's advocate, like,
or it could be a scenario where he is lucky all the time, and this is the one time he's not just lucky, and then he holds that as like his prime moment, and that's what he always goes back to, even if the rest of 99% of the time he doesn't. It's all luck, but then that 1%. He gets it right.
Yeah, it's like Rounders. It's going to be like Lando's like Malkovich with the Oreos, and then he's going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to put up my ship, and this kid's not going to beat me this round. I'm really going to up my game, and then he's going to get beat again.
You could pretty much sum it up with, you have your moments, not a lot of them, but you've had your moments. I'm misquoting it, but you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, you have your moments. And she kisses him.
Yeah, not too many, but you have
them, but you have them. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the man, the myth, the not quite a legend yet, Alden Ehrenreich has revealed that when he signed up for Solo, he signed up for 3 films. And now that doesn't necessarily mean that we're getting Solo 2 and 3, so hold your horses there. But it is an interesting thought. Especially since it sounds like he got along with Disney and is handling the change of director situation in a very proper way. He shot down a couple of rumors recently and said that the situation wasn't nearly as bad as what it seemed online and in the media and stuff like that. So, Lacey, tell me, in your opinion, do you think this was do you think this was a straight PR move, or do you think that just Alden is honestly just trying to set the record straight?
I think anything that you see in articles about Star Wars and about Solo from the cast right now has all been prepared for them. Everything that they talk about, emotions or like pranks on set and stuff like that, they've all been prepped on what they can talk about and what they can't talk about. And I guarantee you they've been given bullet points on how to handle situations like this one where they're like, oh, so what was the deal with the director? I guarantee you he's been given 3 points to say. And yeah, they might be true, And he might be setting the record straight, but I guarantee you he didn't write that. Someone else did.
That makes sense. So, John, I'm gonna come the other angle unless you want to talk about that. We went on record last week, before this whole 2-movie option deal was out there, to say that it makes sense to us that we would see a Solo 2. It was very interesting timing that came out.
Cough, cough. I was the only one that said that I wouldn't. Cough, cough.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But if Solo does well, why would they not? Or why would they want to do a few more adventures with Han and Lando? That makes sense, right? Yes, no. What do you think of this multiple picture deal thing?
Well, first off, the multiple picture thing. So, we had to report this on the site, even though some people were like, we knew about this a long time ago. We had to report this on the site because many sites out there, and I'm not going to name names, they ran this meaning that meant Solo sequels were planned. And there was even one YouTube guy, who I also won't mention, who said a director was chosen for a Solo sequel, and he has a lot of followers and so those people take that information, give it to their families, those people tell people, and it just spreads like nonsense. So it's really irresponsible to do that when you're just making it up. No, we put in our headline, it's a customary deal, and it leaves Lucasfilm with options for maybe Solo sequels or Han even appearing in other movies that aren't directly Han Solo movies or the TV series. If this winds up being a really good movie and everything that we're hearing about it is that it is a good movie, I wouldn't want this to be the last time we see him as Han, or if you have the timeline there and you could do another movie, why not do it? You have the cast established, you have them signed to these deals. Why wouldn't you greenlight something that makes $1 billion and everyone loved? So common sense wise, I would say, I think we should see another Solo sequel if this thing lives up to that. But we'll see. But the short answer is it would make sense to me.
Lacey, I want to hear the devil's advocate on that too, because, okay, you go in and you see Solo May 25th, right? Just like everyone else. You enjoyed the movie. You had a good time, just like everyone else. The movie ends up being really profitable, and they go ahead and they announce that they're actually going to do a sequel, Solo 2, and it's going to take place just shortly after the first one.
What's the devil's advocate right now? Because all I'm hearing is that.
No, I'm saying you say you don't think they're going to do a Solo 2, so I want to hear why you think that you don't want a Solo 2 after you just went and watched the movie. You had a lot of fun with it. It was a good movie, but it doesn't make sense. They're not making a Solo 2. It's a standoff. Am I misunderstanding your position?
I think so. And once again, this might be a scenario where I might have used the wrong words. I don't think they will. Does it mean I don't want one? No, I've never said I didn't want one. I'll watch, and I've said this numerous times, I will watch any Star Wars material, shows, listen to audiobooks because I can't read. I'll take in any Star Wars material. So if they were going to give me a second Solo movie, absolutely I'll watch it. And I'll happily watch it. Do we need it? Do you really need it? Probably not. Do I want it? I'll take anything they throw at me. Do they need it? Probably not. I think that there's so many other cool stories they could tell with Rian Johnson and the other people that I don't think you need to keep going back to these old characters. I think it's time to just move on. Let the past die. And that's how I feel about it.
And that's all I have to say about that. Well, John, do you have any other thoughts on this scenario, or do you think we should go ahead and hit the old hyperspace route?
Fight me, John.
I think one day we are due for a Star Wars war, but that day ain't today. But we're going to have to do one of those soon, I think. So something's brewing here. But for now, no more comments.
All right. Well, then those were the major stories this week. We do have a couple other things that were announced. New animated shows. I'm going to let John take it away on this one. We're going to head into the Scoundrels rundown.
You are absolutely right, James. There is apparently a new Star Wars show that was inspired by our podcast's name. So let's get to the bottom of this. Punch it, Chewie. Star Wars Resistance? Are you kidding me, Lucasfilm? Ripping off our podcast name?
I already sent him a cease and desist.
They better cease and desist. But that is right, folks. The next Star Wars animated series will make its debut this fall. An anime-inspired series created by Dave Filoni called Star Wars Resistance. And we can confirm we have nothing to do with it, unfortunately. But here's what we know about the series so far. Announced over at StarWars.com, the new anime-styled animated series will be based around a new character, a pilot named Cauda Ziono. I'm going to give that a shot. And feature some familiar faces and voices like Oscar Isaac's Poe Dameron, Gwendolyn Christie's Captain Phasma, BB-8, and more. The show will debut on the Disney Channel in the United States and eventually feature on Disney XD internationally. Also featured on the show will be voices our listeners may be familiar with, like Donald Faison from Scrubs and Bobby Moynihan from SNL, famous to me for saying the line, Kylo Ren is a punk bitch.
He's also been on Jedi Collider, saying that Daisy Ridley likes to cry a lot.
And Collider Jedi Council.
There's so many people out there that are obviously fans, and I'm so glad they get to work in Star Wars, but I really just felt so happy for him. Yeah. Like, I could just picture the guy that was in that SNL skit and just going like, that dude is going to be in canon, and he's pumped about it.
And my name drop is that I was in an elevator once with him.
Ooh. Nice. Who hit the button? Who held the door? What happened there?
He held the door for me, and he was super nice.
He's always a gentleman, so we can confirm on this show. Okay. So, good job, Bobby Moynihan. Way to be a gentleman and hold that elevator door. James, I know you're an anime guy with Dragon Ball and all that nonsense. Are you guys feeling this info about the show? Do you think like that's kind of hitting where you're at?
Absolutely. I hope to God that it's like Gundam Wing and we get so much like cockpit, like back and forth, talking, fight scenes. I'm a huge Gundam Wing fan.
Top Gun, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think like they're going to buzz the tower and they're going to hit the brakes and let them fly right by, that kind of stuff? Some Kenny Loggins?
Honestly, I have a feeling that it's going to be kind of How to Train Your Dragon, in the sense of like you might find a couple of kids who don't really know their place, but then they're in the Resistance, and then they get in the next wing and they're flying around and they're just kind of testing it out. They get really close to the ground and they hover above the water and they fly through the clouds.
Coming of age.
And they just and these 4 or 5 fighters, maybe, that I don't know how they're going to do the show, but like I just picture this like squadron crew of team, but like in a very like dog fighty sort of storytelling.
Well, maybe I know George Lucas had a movie called, I think it was Red Tails, which was about the African American fighter pilots. And I know Filoni was still very close with George, so it may have been also inspired by that, in addition to the familial connection that Dave Filoni brought up as his inspiration. But we'll find out. But folks, get your movie tickets here. Solo tickets pre-sale on May 4th. A German cinema sent out a release telling customers that pre-sale tickets for Solo: A Star Wars Story will be available on May 4th, a.k.a. Star Wars Day.
I love how all these international offices always mess it up.
Oh, yeah.
They never get it right.
What did I do? I guess that was German. I don't know.
What did I do?
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that guy who sent us that question last week confirmed that his last name was German, so he was Weiser.
Yes.
David Weiser? Dan
Weiser.
So,
I believe it was David
Weiser.
He said it was German, but he didn't say how to pronounce it, so John's jumping to conclusions again.
Weiser.
Scoundrels Rundown.
The Scoundrels Rundown, baby. We're running this down. So everyone's been assuming that it will be May 4th also in the United States and everywhere else, though no official word has been made. But it kind of makes too much sense for them not to sell tickets on May the 4th for this movie. So I'm assuming that's a safe guess. Our final story on the rundown, a longtime tradition continues. And as James alluded to before, that is Clint Howard in Ron Howard movies. We have known this for months, but now Ron Howard took to his social media platform to show us a frame of his brother, Clint, in Solo. I personally thought Clint was hilarious in his cameo as the murderer in Seinfeld, and he was severely underrated and fantastic as a part of the ground control team in Apollo 13, in my opinion. It's a deep cut, and some fans may not know that Clint appeared as an alien in the original Star Trek series as a kid, so it's good to see he finally came to his senses and is appearing in the correct franchise. As all Star Trek fans who are now listening to this are shutting off our show. Live long and prosper, folks. For the full articles on all these stories, as well as your latest Star Wars news, reviews, editorials, and more, head to our website, StarWarsNewsNet.com, every day. And for all of your non-Star Wars movies, head to our brand new website, Movie Newsnet, which has just made its debut on Friday. That is it for this week's rundown, so let's check in with Lacey to give us our Resistance transmissions this week. Chewie, get us out of here.
Okay, guys, flipping the script this week, as we're saving your questions for our special guest, Alex Damon, aka Star Wars Explained, on Thursday. We asked you to give us your best guess on what the last line in Solo, A Star Wars Story, will be, with a bonus. If anyone who commented under the tweet gets the final line in the movie exactly right, they will win a Resistance Broadcast Solo shirt. Now,
I'm wearing one right now, Lacey.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks fabulous.
Favorite design. Which one is it? Mine's probably Han. Probably Han is my favorite.
Out of all of our shirts?
No.
Of
out
the
of
Han
the
shirt.
Designs for the Han Solo ones. I don't know though. Kira's pretty good, man.
I'm gonna pick
purple?
Kira.
The Kira design is like the purple. Yeah.
Kira's
What's
my
the blue?
favorite.
What's the blue one with the yellow? It's Lando.
That's Lando.
I
baby.
want I like the Lando
blue,
variant.
yellow, and red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The variant, I like that.
Yep.
Which variant are you getting?
It's so sophisticated.
Okay, for now we picked some of our favorites. First is from Norhal of Jakku at Norhal, which is Hallie as part of Star Wars Newsnet, and she said, "Punch it, Chewie."
So she thinks that's going to be the last line. She actually changed her name to like Infinity Nor, I think.
Yeah, I think
or
that's
something.
What it was.
Yeah, it was pretty
Avengers.
good. I was like, wow, that's pretty awesome.
Mine's Lacey
That's such a
Kira
clever
Ren.
thing.
Anybody? No?
Yes, I saw that.
Come on, that's pretty good. That's the first time I've ever done something like that, and it made sense.
It does make sense. I like it. I didn't say I didn't like it. I think that pick is a pretty safe pick. That's very Kasdan-y. That could happen.
AKA
So,
a bookend, as John would say.
Helio Carrasco. Is that how you'd say that, guys?
Carrasco.
You know what's
Carrasco?
funny? The last
Helio
time
Carrasco?
Helio gave an answer, James was the same person that read it, and John was the same person that corrected him.
Yeah. I don't know. I have trouble with that name, apparently. But it's a cool name. I like Helio, for sure. At silent_H, that's silent with a 3, instead of an E. He thinks that the last line of Solo is going to be Solo turning to Chewbacca and says, "If anybody asks, it was less than 12 parsecs. Pinky swear." Or maybe Ponky swear, because it's a paw. I don't know. But he didn't say that part. I added that part.
Ponky swear. Oh my god.
Does he have pinkies? Does Chewbacca have
Why do we
pinkies?
do
I
this
don't know.
segment?
The next one was Seahawks Dad at Seahawks_Dad. And I'm a Giants fan, so I'm offended by your handle, sir.
I love Seahawks Dad. He's so great.
That's great. He said it's Jabba, and then translated, obviously it's going to be in Jabba Huttese, but translated it's going to say, "I'll pay off your debt to Dryden Vos if you smuggle for me." And then Han looks at Chewie, and Chewie shakes his head in disapproval, and then the movie ends.
Didn't.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna go down. Like, I can't picture a Star Wars movie ending with Chewie shaking his head like, "Nah, man." But I could see at the end of the movie at some point, like Jabba hiring Han. So I think you're on point there.
Or someone telling him like, "Hey, I got a job for you."
Yeah.
Type thing, like an aside.
Like the end of like Batman Begins. Like, there's this guy and he left a card and he's like, "Oh, it's the Joker." Well, thank you, Mr. Dad, for that comment. Good job.
Okay, and our last one comes from my boys at Black Series Rebels at BLK Series Rebels. Love you guys. And theirs is scoundrel. One word. That's all we need.
Very stoic.
I know. It's awesome. Well, that's all we got for Resistance Transmissions. Thank you guys so much, and make sure to follow us on Twitter so that you guys know the next time we have something like this and you can get on the show. Back to you, John.
Thank you, Lacey. Yep, Twitter at RBATSWNN. And do we do hashtag? Do we hashtag this one? Hashtag Resistance Transmissions? I don't remember if we do or not.
Je ne sais pas.
Yeah, tell me about it. Are you at con right now?
I should be.
Well, anyway, yeah, as Lacey said, thank you for those. And remember, if anyone, not just the ones we read, but anyone who submitted a a quote gets it exactly right, we'll send you a t-shirt that we talked about. We did a bit of a flip-flop this week, so again, the questions are all going to come to Alex on Thursday, but we do want to thank you all out there for listening and spreading the word of our show. If you haven't yet, please make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. We just passed 600 subscribers on our baby YouTube channel, so thank you very much for the support. Please keep telling your friends, family, classmates, co-workers, basically anybody you know that likes Star Wars about our show. Just simply tell them to Google the Resistance Broadcast, and they will find us all over the place.
You can ask Alexa to say, play the latest episode of the Resistance Broadcast, and it will just start our show.
So go out there and buy an Alexa,
just
and
for
then ask
that.
Alexa to play.
Who doesn't have an Alaska?
An Alaska?
An Alaska.
The United States has an Alaska.
No, I said they don't have it in Alaska.
You guys are so
all right.
lame.
Well, hey, as always, visit our website, StarWarsNewsNet.com, every day for all of your latest Star Wars news, information, editorials, reviews, and more. James, when you're not in Alaska, where can people find you?
You can find me online and Twitter. You can find me at Instagram, at Myra Trunks. You can find me finishing up the last few chapters of Last Shot before we get to the discussion with Alex, which is coming up. Pretty excited about that. There's a lot to be said about that book, and we're going to be talking about it all. So if you haven't read it, beware. Thursday's episode is going to be all spoilers. So look forward to that.
We'll have to remember to tell everybody before we start that show at the beginning of the show that it's going to be all spoilers. So remind me.
Okay, I will.
All right, cool. Lacey, where can people find you?
People can find me as usual on Twitter at Lacey Gillerin, spreading the wise words and support for Ben Solo, who will get Ben-demption in episode 9. Some shirtless pics for John. Therm scissor punching, just hanging out. I'm excited to talk to Alex on Thursday, though. I think I can learn a lot from him. I know he can't teach me to read or math, but he might be able to teach me some stuff about Star Wars.
Without a doubt. That guy is the oracle when it comes to explaining Star Wars, so his handle is not just a clever handle. You guys can find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey and writing over at StarWarsNewsNet.com. Just like James and Lacey just said, I'm very excited to have Alex on this coming Thursday, but thank you all for listening. And I did promise this guy I'd shout out his venture, so go check in with at Stormtrooper Pete. He's a member of the 501st, I believe.
I love
on
Pete.
Twitter. He has an app called Saber This, and he said he's using proceeds from it to send to hashtag Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. The app pretty much shops lightsabers onto your existing photos. So go check in with him for information on that. I did promise him that I would give him a shout out on that on an episode where we didn't have a guest, and that is this one right here.
You got it, Pete.
You got it, Pete. Tune into the show on Thursday. As we just mentioned, we will be joined by Alex Damon from possibly the best Star Wars YouTube channel, Star Wars Explained, where we will talk about the novel Last Shot in detail, as well as how it may have prepared us in some sort of way for Solo. So enjoy your week, and we will see you right back here on Thursday morning on the Resistance Broadcast.